Hello, survivors, hi, family, and friends. This is Roy from Bootsy Sweetheart's Guide to Life and Other Disappointing Experiences with a Sewing Hack. See how I make sewing a lot of circles a whole lot easier. Well, that was fun. Um, but it's serious business. I have a project that I'm working on, and I need a lot of circles. It's kind of circles where you have two pieces of fabric together sewn together in a circle so that you have smooth edges, almost like an applique, and you turn it right side out, and there are no raw edges showing. Normally, what we do, or what I do, is take my fabrics, put them face to face, right side to right side, draw a circle around them, whatever size the project calls for. Then you take it to the machine and then you sew on the line and you have your two pieces of fabric sewn together. Well, they make a jig, they make more than one kind that enables you to do many circles, all the same diameter, that affixes to the sewing machine bed. And you don't even have to draw the circle because the measurement stays, and I'll show you how this is used. This was $56. And although I probably made the mistake, it doesn't fit my machine, my Juki. So see what I did to solve the problem of making a jig to sew circles together, one right after the other in assembly line fashion. So the way this attachment accessory works is this opening here is for the presser foot. You slide that in and it's supposed to line up with some screws on the plate of on the bed of the sewing machine, and it in this particular machine it does not. So it made it difficult for me to use this. What happens normally is you measure out where you want the radius to be, and this slides back and forth, and you find the center of the fabric. Put the push pin through the fabric, then into the hole on the accessory. This will pivot around, sewing as it pivots. Great little device, but it didn't work for me. But I found something just as good for me. First, what I've done is identified the needle position on the plate on the bed of the sewing machine. And here's this little dot. There's a little line here. I don't know that you can see it. That shows where the needle hole is. So it's easy to line up. And you take a ruler and you measure what you want your radius to be. In this case, for a 4-inch circle, I want the radius to be 2. Line it up here and line it up here and draw a dot where I want the pin to go. And what do I use? A simple push pin, a simple thumbtack, and some painter's tape. And this is going to create the center where the pivot's going to occur. And I simply line up to best I can, really very easy, the pin with that 2-inch mark and secure the tape down. This replaces the adapter, the accessory. Now, the next is to prepare the fabric. I want this to be the outer fabric, this to be the inner fabric. I'm going to place them face to face. And now I have to find the center so I can put the thumbtack where this push pin would have been. And I'm not being too exact because there's a little bit of fabric that may go to waste. There's a little bit. This is a 5-inch square. It's 5 inches because we have a half an inch is going to be taken up with the seam allowance, and there'll be a little bit of waste, but you'll see not that much. It certainly makes up for how difficult it can be normally to sew circles for some of us. Some people just fly through it, but I have a lot I'm going to be making my next projects, so I want to make sure I find a way that I can do them efficiently and not spend a lot of time on them. So what I'm doing now is pinning them together. I don't want the fabrics to move and shift a lot under the presser foot. And you notice I'm not being so careful. It's off a little bit, but I have a little wiggle room. So I'm going to take advantage of the wiggle room. Yeah, it's off a little, but I'm not going to worry about that. So now what I do is under the presser foot goes the sandwich, and I line the center mark right with the push pin, the thumbtack, and I secure the fabric. Okay, not what we wanted to do because I want the pins accessible to me. So what I'll do is I'll mark that on this side. This is a friction pen, so that will come off. Okay. Part of my fun making these videos is explaining and showing the mistakes I make. That's better. All right, now you'll see how this is going to pivot around. I've made one of these just now before, and of course forgot to hit record, so I'm doing this again. I have this at about 2.5, 3 millimeters, and the presser foot is down. It helps to have, for me, and this is for me, it helps for me to have something to hold the fabric taut. So you can put an eraser, something to push this down. I found, however, I'm not on the center. Don't anybody look. I'm not quite on the center, but you'll see it'll work out anyway. I found an old union pin, lapel pin, and it has one of the flanges, one of the, I don't know what they call these. Turns out it fits right over the thumbtack. But before I do that, a little bit of a help for me is stiff plastic from a soup container to help hold the fabric in place. This is all to make life easier. So I'll put that on the push pin, and I'll add the flange or whatever you want to call this thing to hold it down, and that makes everything so much easier. Now we'll let her rip here. Now I'm not lifting the presser foot. It's going smoothly all by itself. And guess what happened? Ran out of bobbin thread. I will be back. All right, here we go. Oh my goodness. Anyway, now I'm going around and around, fix the bobbin, and you'll notice I was able to do it without much adjusting of the very expensive tool I have here. And you'll notice, even with all that, even with all of that, and the bird's nest, because I didn't do a sample thread check, I have a completed circle. Just clean this up. And what I'll do to show you what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to cut. There's no specific order in how to do this. I'm going to cut some slits so I can turn this right side out. And I'm going to pink the edges . Yeah, now this is the waste material. Not a lot. Then I simply turn this out. This I intend to be some kind of a decorative flower or brooch or pin. Oops, stay in frame, Roy. So instead of spending $56 or whatever I spent, I could have gone to the little bulletin board that we have, pulled a push pin off in the beginning and made my own jig. Now this is all set up so I can make as many of these as I want without removing it. I don't even have to draw the circles. I simply have to put the center of the square on the jig and it's done. It's a good thing, as Martha would say. Freshen this up and press this, and I'll fill it with some batting, and I have the base for a nice pin or brooch. And all I have to do to make other smaller circles is simply move the push pin and the tape. And you'll see I was even able to change the bobbin without removing the push pin and having to recalibrate it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this comedy of errors, making circles with a homemade jig. If you like this kind of video and having fun sewing, doing crafts, please consider subscribing. Please give the video a thumbs up. Please share with someone who might be interested. This is a lot of fun. Oh, and check out my empty bobbin blues video. I could have prevented a catastrophe. But as always, please stay well, stay safe, stay smart. Do something today to make yourself smile. Bye for now.